We got Walt Frazier walking down the hall, a fucking NBA legend.
Wow.
Hell
An
yeah.
all-star. Look at, he's still got the swagger. Look at him.
Oh, yeah.
He still looks very intense.
He's 65 years old.
There he
The great
is.
Walt Frazier.
Sir.
What's going on, Walt?
Good, man.
We were just talking about, obviously you won championships with the Knicks in 70 and 73, and I was mentioning all the guys. I want to know what happened to Jerry Lucas. He was a speed reader. I read one of his books growing up, how to speed read, and I can't even read normally.
Yeah, he could remember the New York phone book.
Yes.
He had all these tricks. That was a way to do that. So
Like a photographic memory?
Yeah.
No, he had tricks like Walt
Yeah,
said.
we used to ask him, when do you sleep, man?
When you get pussy.
So he's in California.
Yeah?
Yeah, still wheeling and dealing.
He's doing all right?
Yeah.
As a guy who played many years ago, does it, like, when you look at what guys make now, and I always wondered, do athletes get, like, is there got to be that one party that goes like, ugh, like if I played like X amount of years later, do the salaries bother you a little bit or make you go like, oof?
It's like playing Monopoly. I can't even relate to that. You know, you're making $15 million, $20 million a year. And I try not to think of it because otherwise I'd never be happy.
Right.
You know, and a lot of players aren't. I would say like 80, 90% of the guys are very disappointed when they see today's salaries. And
you would think the new guys would, throw you a little something for paving the way.
Yeah,
A little check in your mailbox every once in a while. LeBron James check would be nice, right, Walt?
Yeah, they will not. They wouldn't vote to. The guys from the '60s were not included in the pension.
Wow.
And these guys really didn't want to give them any money because they don't know. A lot of the players don't know the history of the game today. Mm-hmm. They just came in primarily for the money, and they think it's always been this way, where there's millions of dollars, sold out arenas,
Hell no.
4-star hotels, private planes, Rolls Royces.
Well, you had a Rolls Royce though.
Right. I was one of the few guys. Earl and I, we were the Rolls Royce backcourt at the time.
That's right.
So wait, they didn't
Earl Monroe, one of the greatest guards of all time, too.
Earl the Pearl.
Earl the Pearl was amazing.
See, I even knew that.
Yeah, Earl the Pearl, of course.
Yeah, he had the showman game, shaking and baking, the school ground type of play.
Yeah, and Walt would roll up to the games in a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, mink coats, right? Like in complete style.
Yeah, New York style.
Yeah. Total New York style.
So who didn't want to include you guys in the pensions? It was the NBA or the players today?
Well, the guys from the '60s were not included. Like Bob Cousy and those type of guys were not included in the pension plan.
So some of those legends are hurting today.
Yeah. A lot of the guys are. Even some of the former players, man, they are destitute. A lot of them.
It's like the old fighters, too.
Yeah, I was saying that old boxers. Like we just there's a big article on Iran Barkley, who I guess he made $5 million over his career, but I don't know if he spent it wisely.
But he's living in a hotel in the Bronx.
Well, remember the article recently in Sports Illustrated that said about 80% of these guys once they leave the game are broke. Mm-hmm. So.
Now, Walt, I grew up a Knicks fan. When are we going to have a team that we could be proud of again? It's been a long fucking time.
I think we're blending one now, man. I think
we're
it's coming together, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah,
Stoudemire is a positive role model for these young guys. Terry off, some tenacity in the paint. Felton, orchestrating, penetrating. So, this last road trip, we were 3-1. So hopefully we can carry this over tonight. It's amazing that the world's most famous arena, but we're not that dominant at home, so we've got to become a better home court team.
Right on, yeah.
Yeah.
How do the young players treat you? They treat you like with reverence, right? I mean, you're one of the gods of the game. It's got to be.
Yeah, they call me the legend.
That's nice, right?
Yeah,
of course it is.
The women still responding, I'm sure.
Sometimes.
If they've had enough drinks, what are you getting at? Frazier rules.
What do you miss most when you leave it? Because I've asked other athletes before, team sport guys. Is it the camaraderie or is it the schedule? What is it you miss the most?
That's a good question, man. The camaraderie and the challenge of every other night to be a hero.
Really?
Yeah. Nothing else in your life is going to give you that, that where you have that competitiveness and you look forward to going out there. After every loss, you want to come back and redeem yourself. So it's not like football where you have to wait a week.
Right.
You could be a hero tonight and a bomb tomorrow in the NBA. So, but that's what I like, the challenge. And then, of course, the guys in the locker room, all the BS that goes on in the locker room.
Teasing each other, right?
Yeah. And you got to remember, you're in the prime of your life, in your 20s, 25 years old. the world's greatest city. We were, winning, having a winning tradition.
Oh yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
What is the biggest time in playing that you were just like, oh, I'm awful? Like, what is the biggest? Like they say, what you're the hero or the GOAT. Like, what is the worst one you can remember? Like the shot you wish you would have made, or is there a moment that you're like, that one I could kind of redo if I could?
Well, there are a lot of those. I mean, you see, most people think when you lose a close game is easy. Those are the worst. I'd rather get blown out by 50.
That makes more sense.
So then
you can
there's
sleep at night after being blown out by 50, right?
Right, because when you lose by one, there's always if it woulda, shoulda, coulda, what you're talking about. Yeah, if I had made that shot, if I had made this pass, so it kind of wears on you.
Yeah, and Walt did, I think, 10 years with the Knicks?
Yeah,
something like
10
that?
years, 67 to 77.
And then you broke all our hearts when you had to, finish your career in Cleveland.
Yeah, man.
What did you do, 1 or 2 seasons there?
10.
You did 10 years in Cleveland?
Seemed like it.
No.
I equated to being shipped to Siberia.
Wait, how many years did you really do?
I did 2, but
Okay, you scared me. I was like, I didn't, wow. Yeah, 2 years in Cleveland.
Yeah, it was rough, man. But it kind of prepared me for afterwards. I'm sure if I never got traded, I'd probably still be riding around in the rows in New York being Clyde. Mm-hmm. So once I was traded, I became more of a homebody, and I knew I was only going to play a couple of more years. So I started focusing on my life after the game. And I don't know, now you guys know I have a place in the Virgin Islands. I'm into gardening and all that.
Yeah.
St. Croix.
Nice.
What do you grow in your garden? A little,
A little marijuana. I have fruit trees, mango trees, orange trees, anything there. You put a stick in the ground, it'll grow. Yeah, the weather's very conducive. So,
how long are you down there every year?
Once the season's over,
you're done. That's where you call home?
Yeah, in off season. I also have rental properties there that I rent out that I design and decorated, landscaped. So.
Wow, Frazier's doing all right, man.
Well, I got lucky, man. I got lucky that my only flamboyance is in clothes. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm a very conservative person.
Right.
You're wearing, by the way, people can't see he's wearing a very cool leather outfit. With how would you describe the jacket? It's like I love what you're wearing, and yet if I wore it, somebody would just smack me and take it off me.
It would look silly.
I can't look cool. That's
it's very
a phenomenal
American
outfit.
Indian looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are the Indian
some leather fringe on it, and some.
Actually, I got this in Vegas at one of those shops out there, the Western shops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be the right guy to walk around on that thing.
It really is amazing how Walt Frazier can just dress differently than Jim Norton and look amazingly good.
Of course. He's tall, in shape.
Yeah, you really do. By the way, I don't, you don't like to compliment another man's appearance too much, but I mean, you look very, very healthy and young. It's like whatever you do. Are you still exercising regularly, or are you just one of those guys?
No, I
blessed?
do. This is what we were talking about with this book. This book was from 1974, and I was into health and fitness then, and now I'm still into it. So,
and the Just for Men doesn't hurt, right?
The Just for Men was a savior, yeah.
But it looks good on him. You can't tell he's Just for Men. He's a spokespperson for Just for Men. Yeah, he's all over the place.
You never saw the commercials?
No.
Keith Hernandez?
Him and Keith Hernandez?
Yeah,
him and
Keith
Smith?
Hernandez.
No, I love Emmett. I'm usually in the gym.
Well, see, you don't need it. That's why. You see, you don't need it.
I do need it. Why do you think I keep it this short? Because as soon as it starts to come in, it's gray, and I'm like, just keep the illusion that I'm still 30.
Jimmy gets Just for Trannies.
Well, you know how it is. I've heard this book too. People were talking about this book, and they said it's very funny. Like, there's some really, really funny stuff in this book. Like, it's not a completely serious book.
Right, and that's why we brought it back, because it kind of was an iconic book that people were still looking for on the internet, trying to come up with rock and study. And, even the title, A Guide to Basketball and Cool. There's a section that I show you how to catch flies. I talk about my style. I talk about women. I talk about the evolution of the game today, how the game has changed. Like when I played, I was a backcourt man. And you had to rebound, defend, score. Today, if you a point guard, you don't shoot. You shooting guard, you don't dribble. So they've taken away the versatility of the players today. So they're everybody's sort of a specialist.
Right. That's very true. Who were the greatest guards in NBA history?
Yeah, in the book, defense, was my forte. I love to play defense.
You knew how to steal that ball.
In the book, I allude to how I guarded Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Earl Pearl, Dave Bing, Gail Goodrich, Phil Chenier, all of these prolific scorers that I had to deal with. So
my favorite player of all time. You're up there, by the way, but Pete Maravich was my
Pistol
favorite.
Pete. I have
Pete
Pistol
was
in
my
there.
favorite
Yeah,
of all time.
yeah, he was uncanny.
Yeah,
Passing, his dribbling.
yeah.
Yeah, he was a showman like Earl the Pearl.
Oh boy, was he! And then blows out his knee doing one of those moves, and he was never the same after that.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was inducted into the Hall of Fame with Pete and Rick Barry in 1987.
Right.
I remember Rick Barry from the ABA
Yeah,
with the red, white, and blue ball, and he used to take the foul shots from like between his legs.
Yeah. Did you laugh at those guys?
the ABA.
No, the
The old time shot.
from the foul line.
But it's very accurate, man.
I know,
This guy's
but
one
it
of the-
doesn't look cool. Walt Frazier would never be doing that.
Well, you see, that's what the guys today. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the leading scorer in the history of the game,
Yes.
using what, the sky hook.
Yeah.
It's obsolete today because guys would say, "Hey, man, that's old school."
Right.
Yeah, but it's a very effective weapon.
It sure
but today
was.
is style over substance in many things that's going on in the game.
Do you think guys are bigger today too? Like,
Oh my God,
like would
they're
Abdul-Jabbar
much
be
bigger.
as effective sky hooking? I guess because you can't block it once it's on its way in. But do
Yeah,
you
he
think-
could get it off because he was.
Yeah. There's no way to defend against that.
It really
Yeah.
doesn't look cool. It really the little leg comes up. It's very almost like a very dainty move. But is it effective?
Yeah, yeah. It's because you can't block. It's very, especially if you're 7 feet tall. So today the game is more about dunks, threes.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And neck
entertainment.
tattoos. A lot of neck tattoos, I'm noticing.
Oh, man.
They're tatted up, these guys, Walt. You don't have a tattoo, do you?
No, some of these guys is they're overboard, man.
Yeah.
It's just there's no more room. There's no room left. You
Right.
know.
Who was the first guy that started? Coming up, I remember Darryl Dawkins. I think for the Nets used to
Rodman.
Yeah, Rodman
Dennis
started
Rodman.
it.
Oh, Dennis Rodman, right?
We had this discussion. Rodman or Allen Iverson started the whole tattoo.
Oh no, no! I mean the whole
The dunk?
the slam being the big highlight. I mean, I just
Dr.
remember.
J.
Yeah,
Dr.
absolutely.
Soufin,
Dr. J.
yeah, Dr. J. Then Darryl was on his team.
Right.
Chocolate Thunder.
I didn't realize how short Dr. J was when he shaved his his hair down.
He shrank
Oh
before
my
your
God! I
eyes.
thought he
huh?
was like 6'10" or something. He's only like 6'4", 6'5" without that hair.
Only when he's leaving, man.
Who was the toughest guy you ever faced? Like, who was the guy you hated? If you had to pick one guy you never want to face again on the court, who was the toughest one that you think you had to go up against?
Probably Monroe.
Yeah.
He's the only man I ever dreamt about. This guy used to
Really?
give me nightmares, man. Yeah.
You couldn't figure him out.
You know, because say if I guarded Oscar Robertson, I knew he was going to try to overwhelm me with physical size. Jerry West was going to do it with quickness, but Earl, he didn't know what he was going to do. Everything was improvisation, you know? So everything was created on the spot, man. It was and he had that spin move. So, but I love the challenge trying to guard him. And that's why when he came to the Knicks, excuse me, a lot of people said we need two basketballs. It would not work. But we had such mutual respect for each other when we were opponents. Mm-hmm. So when he came to the Knicks, we never had a problem who had the ball. If I was scoring, I gave him the ball, vice versa. And I think unequivocally, we're the greatest backcourt ever.
Because basketball is different than obviously than baseball because like A-Rod and Jeter are two giant players. But they don't rely on each other as much as two guys on a basketball court, too, who are just constantly interacting in order to score.
And the problem is, you want your shots. And Earl wanted his shots.
Right,
Walt
right.
wanted his shots.
They say Kobe, Kobe and Shaq never kind of gelled, and that kind of hurt. Although the team did very well, but
What do you... yeah.
Early on, they struggled.
did they? Those two?
Yeah, it's all about ego, man.
Yeah.
If you
A lot of egos
sacrifice
on
your
that
ego...
court. What you think it's going to work out for LeBron in Miami? Speaking
Man,
of
can you
egos?
believe how dreadful they are?
Yeah, they're not. I think they're.
Last night they hit rock bottom and they lost to Indiana at home.
Aren't they 8-6 or something like that?
Yeah,
They were
but
expected,
They were
to,
expected
be
to be the
just
best
super
team in the league.
yeah.
see,
Even
it's
though they're-
chemistry, man. There's a word called chemistry.
And we're all rooting for that team to completely fail. unless you live around Miami, of course. But the rest of the league is like.
I'm sure
we wanna
Riley.
see
I'm
this.
sure Riley will be coming back to coaching soon, man.
Yeah.
the way they're floundering, he has to come back.
Yeah, you got a super team, and it's not working so far.
Yeah, but they have other problems because they have nothing in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. Their bench. There's a very thin bench.
Well, they had to kind of throw a team together, right? They only had the big three players,
Right, and they
everyone
took
else,
all of their money.
right, and then they didn't really have money or for anybody else. You need that sixth man, right, Walt? Somebody to come off that bench.
Yeah, you got to have 8 players. That's why the Knicks are thriving now. They've shortened the rotation to 8 players, and they're getting tangible results now.
Do you watch like mostly basketball, or do you boxing, MMA?
I'm all around.
Watch everything?
Yeah, I keep abreast of football. I love. I was a quarterback in high school, and football. I was a catcher in baseball, and so I like the game. I like boxing. I watch track and field. Yeah.
Do you wish you were a football player ever?
Not when I see 300-pound guys running like that, man.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Some of those quarterbacks, I don't know how they get up, man.
It's unbelievable.
After some of those hits.
The hits this year are unbelievable.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Walt about the 5 greatest players of all time.
5 greatest players, other than myself.
Other than yourself.
Or including yourself.
You could include yourself. No one's going to laugh at that.
There has been one Superman in the game. That was Wilt Chamberlain.
Sure.
And Bill Russell was right behind him. And I go with Robertson and West.
Wow.
I guess I have to throw Jordan in there. Michael has to be in there.
But you're just kind of throwing him in at the end? No respect for Jordan?
No, there's respect, but
when it comes to the history of the game, he just squeaks in there?
Yeah,
Top 5?
I think if he played in our era, he would not have been as dominant.
Really? Why?
Because we had 7-foot guys. We had 7-foot guys. There are really no centers when Michael started to dominate. Plus, the league is expanding. There are more teams, so they're not as strong.
Wow, a lot of people would put Jordan either 1 or 2.
Yeah, I know, but see, today, who's ever playing is the greatest.
Right.
If you're doing it today. So a lot of people never saw Wilt Chamberlain play. Because to me, this is the thing. Wilt Chamberlain's the only player they had to change the rules for to try to contain him. Right? When you see goaltending, that man started goaltending. Where he used to shoot the ball from the side of the basket, he'd jump up and pull it out of the air.
Didn't matter where it was.
Right.
It could be in the cylinder pretty much.
Anywhere, right. So they had to change it. That's goaltending. Then the lane, they widened the lane from 6 feet to 8 feet to keep this guy, try to contain this guy in the paint. So he's the only player that they really changed the game for,
Do you think Jordan, he was obviously a great player, but do you think in the history of basketball, he's been slightly overrated compared with a lot of the guys that came a little bit before him?
Only overrated because people never saw Oscar Robertson in his prime, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain. There's very little footage.
Right.
Come on, Oscar Robertson, the guy who almost averaged a triple-double for his whole career. He did it for one season. And I'm talking 25 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists.
Every game he was doing.
Right. Every game.
Doubles.
And wasn't there no footage of Wilt? Didn't he score? Was it 100 against, I want to say
100
against
points.
Philly? Or am I wrong about that?
The Knicks, unfortunately.
I was going to say
against the Knicks when he
and there was
playing
no
for
footage of that, right? There's no film of that.
Not really, no.
No, but there were 20,000 people there anyway that saw it.
Yeah. Even though the gym only held 1,000, but everyone says they were at that game.
But you can't watch it in a replay like you can all of Jordan's great plays.
You didn't put Kareem in the top 5, or did you?
No.
Kareem is there too. He's in the next tier with Magic. Kareem and Magic, those guys.
Respect.
Bird.
I was going to ask about Bird.
Yeah.
What about Kareem's acting chops there in Airplane?
He ruined it for all of you, Walt.
Thought he was great.
He didn't lead the way. He ruined it.
He was the co-pilot.
Even being in Hollywood didn't help him, man.
They said the funny thing too is like guys like Nicholson, who was obsessed with basketball. When he would go into the Lakers locker room, all he wants to talk about is basketball, and all they want to talk about is acting. It's like, do you find that with like other celebrities on your level? They want to talk about what you do, and you want to talk about what they do.
Well, yeah. When we meet Spike, Spike is a tremendous fan, and but it doesn't bother me because being a broadcaster, I learn a lot from the fans. Sometimes they say something, I go, "Wow, I never thought of that." So I like talking to the New York fans made me create my style. Because when I first came to the game, I'd been away and I was saying fast break and they were saying transition. I was saying passing, they were saying dishing. And versatility, all this creativity. And I was like, hey, man, that's the way I should sound. If I'm going to be doing this, I got to work at this. So I worked diligently to improve my vocabulary, and so now I added dishing and swishing. So I had my own little posting and toasting, shaking and baking, wheeling and dealing. So all the things that I created from that once I improved my vocabulary.
Sometimes you could catch old games on like ESPN Classic, and it really is funny to watch the evolution of the uniform, the shorts that used to just be ridiculously short and silly looking.
Yeah, how do you keep your balls in those shorts? Wow. That's what we're getting at.
And it did look really silly.
I'm surprised the ball didn't pop out on somebody. But look, maybe not
we
Bradley
could have never
or
gotten away
DeBusschere,
with that
but-
because guys used to grab our shorts back in the day. So.
Look, he's just being polite. When it was all white guys, the shorts could be shorter. We all understand that.
There's a reason why they're long shorts now.
Shit.
So then Jordan brought him in. Jordans were fine. Now they're too long, man. The guys have taken it to the other
Yeah,
extreme.
now they're really, really long.
Yeah,
Like
too
shorter
baggy, too
jams and
extreme.
shit.
Yeah.
How about the fans too? It's like you've seen a couple of guys run into the stands, and it's like I don't know how more guys don't do that. Like there's a line where people are just yelling about stuff that is game related, and I know some of the fans can just be atrocious.
Yeah, but
Like,
you can't lose your cool that way.
have you ever wanted to? I mean, were there times where you'd be on the road where it went beyond where you were?
Not with the
tolerant?
fans, with the coach. I wanted to do the Spreewell on Holtzman before Spreewell. A lot of
Oh,
times.
really? You didn't like Red Holtzman at
Well,
times?
sometimes, man, he can make you very upset. You want to choke him, but we never
He's a
did. Red had a way of antagonizing you.
Oh,
You're like,
boy.
Frazier, you're supposed to be a good defensive player. This guy's eating you up,
Holtzman was a legendary coach, man.
Yeah. He knew how to push the buttons, man. He knew how to get you fired up, and I credit a lot of my success in the game to him.
How do you guys respond to, like, Peyton Manning? Here's an example of was making a comeback against New England this week, and he threw an interception going down. And he's obviously a great quarterback, but he screwed up and he cost the team what could have been the tying field goal. When you guys go into the locker room, the field goal kicker that missed or the guy that missed the free throw, how does the rest of the team respond to the guy who obviously just blew it?
Be honest, Walt.
Yeah, like what is the feeling about if you've
You're
been the
not
guy who's
playing
done it,
anymore.
or
Well, but usually they ignore you. They don't say anything.
These
They don't
savage
say
people, yeah.
anything. Like, and then some guys that come over and say it's all right. The coach usually will come over
Yeah.
and say it's all right. We'll get him the next time.
I guess they know they screwed up. Why antagonize
But
them?
today, the most unforgiving miss is a field goal kicker. Nobody has any sympathy for a field
No,
goal
'cause
because
that's
this is
all they
all you
do.
do, man.
all
Right.
you do.
So
You
nobody
have to be
has
perfect
any
out there.
compassion for
You should
him
never
once he
miss.
misses.
Never.
Right.
Especially anything now inside like the 40-yard line. It's like anything you should be making that.
Right, they don't expect them to miss, but we're like with Peyton. He's won so many games.
Right.
The guys just, hey man,
Right.
that's one of those things because he's going to come back and redeem himself.
Well, a lot of people, everyone has a question for you, but they want me to ask you about Kobe. What's your thoughts on Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant, he's right there with Michael.
Really?
Yeah, he's the dominant player today, the preeminent player in the league. He can shoot, he can defend. He's team oriented, so he really has no weaknesses.
And the other thing, I got to get back to LeBron James. I forgot about this. What do you think of him leaving Cleveland like that?
I was shocked he did not come to New York. How could he turn this challenge down?
Right.
I couldn't believe it. I was
Patrice-
flabbergasted when it happened.
Patrice O'Neal made a good point. He said LeBron James decided he wanted to be Pippen instead of Jordan, like the second guy
Right.
on a
he
team. Why would you
obviously-
want to do that? You
I
want a
know.
championship that bad? I don't understand. Maybe he didn't like where Cleveland was heading, but the Knicks would have been a great opportunity.
Yeah, I thought if he didn't come to the Knicks, he would stay with Cleveland. They weren't that far
So you
away.
were kinda shocked by the whole
I was
thing, right?
shocked, man.
Especially
Come on,
knowing about
this,
egos and stuff.
Well, this city, we giving the guy everything already. And here, all he had to do was win one title to
Oh,
be
my God,
immortalized.
can you imagine?
If he wins 3 or 4 in Miami, it's not the same.
Right.
Because he's got Wade, he's got Bosh, he's got all these guys, so it's not going to be the same. So
I think it's the New York media too. A lot of guys don't want to come here because the New York media can be brutal. I think that scares a lot of guys
New
away.
York's not for everybody. It's a special type of player that likes the camaraderie here, the fans, that challenge here that I was alluding to, that every other day to go out and win the game.
Do you want when you see yourself plastered on the back of the paper and there's just some sports reporter just giving you a beating for what you did the night before? How personally do you take that?
I stopped reading. I stopped reading the paper late in my career. They were bashing me, so I just stopped reading the paper.
Stop reading it, yeah.
The New York paper's funny when it's not about you. When it started being about me, it wasn't so funny, you know. So
the big unit couldn't take it.
Randy Johnson could not take it.
Randy Johnson lost his mind here in New York because they wouldn't leave him alone. And he blew his cool so many times
at the press.
Oh, they hated him.
You can't do that. You got to stay cool, remain cool. Because what I like about New York is when you're thriving, hey man, they're giving you all the kudos.
Oh yeah,
you're the greatest. You're the greatest.
Yeah.
So then, to me, it's fair that when you're not playing well, they bash you.
They're gonna rip
you
you apart.
That's the way it is.
Sure.
But in other cities, the players are thriving. They don't get the kudos that they get in New York.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
Yeah,
that's the place to be. Apparently,
Walden only has like a minute or two left. I want to make sure we get the plug out for the book.
I'm actually looking through. It's great.
Anything else you want to say about the book, Walt?
I think the fans will enjoy it because it's about the evolution and revolution of the game. I mentioned that today the players are more like specialists because of the system of point guard, shooting guard, as opposed to when I played. The defense in there that I talk about how to defend these prolific scorers. There are some great pictures, action shots of me, my fashion passion, about my wardrobe, how that all evolved, and my teammates, the camaraderie with my teammates, how we captivated New York with our style of play. And I think it'll bring back a lot of memories for the fans that were around in the 70s. And for the young fans that know me now as a Knick announcer, they'll get an insight into me as a ball player and a person.
This is great, too, because everyone likes a lot of great photos. These are all great photos, but there's a lot of just writing and photos, which is like perfect in a book.
Oh, yeah.
I hate books that have no pictures.
Yeah,
and
easy read.
Great line here. Pit juice is what some of the players call underarm deodorant. Fantastic little lines like that.
A little tidbit.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes guys forgot that pit juice, man. They were very offensive on the court.
Would guys do that on purpose, though?
Getting in your face with their armpit and shit.
Yeah.
You hear about athletes that do that on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
They don't shower or brush their teeth for a week or so to make it just horrendous for you out there. Is that
Right.
true, or is that just some dumb...
Well, some guy, I don't know if they were doing it intentionally, but there were guys noted for their offensive
smells.
odor. Yeah.
Jesus.
Are you doing any book signings with this? They have you doing signings?
December 7th, I'm at the NBA store.
All right.
Here in New York.
Yeah, around, I think it's 2 o'clock.
Okay, December 7th. I wish we had that on a sheet. Do we have a sheet of that? Because we can give that after you leave the book signing.
December 7th at the NBA store. Walt Frazier will be there.
And there will obviously be a line. So keep in mind December 7th. And the book is out now. People can get it now.
Right. It's in the stores now. And there's a terrific picture of me on the cover with one of my outfits on, a gaucho hat. I have a $20 gold piece around my neck, which I framed. I used to wear that for good luck. And a cape.
A cape.
And a turtle. It almost looks like a religious
A lot
outfit.
of people can't wear a cape. Can't pull off the cape.
You and Elvis pull off the cape.
Yeah.
Superman.
And Superman.
Yeah, Superman pulled it off well. I mean, non-flying people. This is great, though. I really like it a lot. I've been perusing it as we've been talking, and it's a quality book, man. It's really you'll do very well with this. Obviously, I'm sure you've done well with it before. You'll do well with it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's.
And that's the beauty of playing in New York. This is like my 6th book that I've done.
So you have all basketball books, or did you kind of go into novels?
Well, I did a word book on my vocabulary. I did an idiot's guide to basketball. And then the other books were on the championship Knick teams. A couple of books. One was the game within the game, and one magic season and a basketball life.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
Buy this one, Rock and Steady. It's a hardcover, and it is out now by Walt Frazier.
Yeah, if you want to be cool, man, styling like Clyde, check it out.
The cool Walt Frazier.
I want this jacket badly, but in my size.
You want it in your size?
Yeah, I would look silly.
Great. Hey, Walt, thanks for stopping by, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.